Good evening, everyone. Today, a grand jury has indicted 4 people in the murder of Preston Lord. And before I discuss the details of these indictments, let me remind you that we are talking about the death of a 16-year-old boy. As I have said in the past, I have spoken with his family, and they are in agony. The loss of a child is unimaginable for most of us, but to live it is a whole new level of horror. I do want to say this to all of those who have continued to post innumerable, unfounded, ill-informed theories on social media. I hope you will pause and consider and evaluate the effect that you may have had on this family over the past several months. Because now you are about to see the crucial steps of the real legal process at work. This has taken months, but not because no one was working on it. Quite the contrary, and I'll say more about that in a moment. The following people were indicted today: Dominic Turner, William Owen Hines, Talon Renner, T-A-L-A-N, and Talon, T-A-L-Y-N, Vigil. Each of them is charged in the alternative with first-degree murder. Felony murder is the theory of the first-degree murder, and in the alternative, second-degree murder. In addition to that, Dominic Turner is charged with aggravated robbery. Each of the 4 is also charged with kidnapping. Arrest warrants were issued after the grand jury handed up the indictments, and the Queen Creek Police Department made arrests of these defendants. What has happened here today is a massive step forward in the quest for justice for Preston Lord. As you'll recall, Preston was beaten while attending a party on October 28, 2023. And he died 2 days later in a hospital. Since then, too many people have complained that nothing was happening, and the family heard that. To you, I say directly, you could not have been more wrong. From the night of the incident, the Queen Creek Police Department has spent hundreds of hours piecing together an extremely complex case that involved dozens of potential players, either suspects, witnesses, or other individuals with knowledge. Chief Bryce is here, and he'll talk to you about that more in a moment. From the time my office received the case in late December, likewise, my team has invested hundreds of hours logging and reviewing evidence. You've heard me say before that the police reports numbered in the thousands of pages, and that there were more than 600 pieces of video evidence that my prosecutors watched over and over and over. In addition, we asked for an investigative grand jury to review the case. Let me explain the difference between what you probably are familiar with as a traditional grand jury and an investigative grand jury. You are probably familiar with a situation in which a completed investigation is presented to a grand jury. It takes a portion of a day, and the grand jury decides whether or not there is probable cause in that case. An investigative grand jury is different. It can be used to conduct further investigation beyond the police investigation. For example, they can require witnesses to appear in front of them via subpoena. They can subpoena documents and other matters. Now, because of the secret nature of grand jury proceedings, that's as far as I'm going to go. I'm not going to tell you what substance was developed in front of the grand jury, and I'm not going to tell you who was called, if anyone, to testify in front of the grand jury. But what I will tell you is this: those take time. Earlier in my career, I was involved in a case where we ran an investigative grand jury, and it took well over a year. So this was done with extraordinary speed. The grand jury has been reviewing this case since February 7th. And then there was another piece of evidence that we absolutely had to have to make this case, and that was the medical examiner's report. That detailed final report was received on February the 14th. And I want to stop and express my appreciation to the Maricopa County Medical Examiner's Office for spending the necessary time to get this exactly right. They undertook a painstaking review, which was so necessary in this particular case. In addition to today's indictments, I will remind you of the dozens of other charges we've brought against some of the same defendants as well as others in the group. And I'm going to give you some updated numbers. These are numbers that do not include the Preston Lord case, to be clear. We have charged 13 adults and 7 juveniles for a total of 20. The adults have been charged cumulatively with 40 counts, juveniles with 14 counts, for a total of 54 charges. This effort on the part of my office and the Queen Creek Police Department, as well as the Gilbert and Mesa Police Departments and other partners in the system, has been a lengthy, meticulous, and thorough investigation and review. And let me emphasize this, let me be very clear. This investigation and review are not over. Additional charges are possible, but obviously I'm not in a position to discuss those specifically tonight. So with that, I would like to invite Queen Creek Police Chief Randy Bryce to the podium, and then we can address questions you may have after his comments.
Thank you, County Attorney Mitchell, for being here, and thank you to the press and the media for being here to listen to kind of the culmination of a lot of effort and all the things that we've done up to this point to really go back to that focus of getting justice for Preston. And the county attorney did a great job of covering a lot of the detail that has brought us to this point, so I won't belabor that, but I want to remind you, as she said, this was a Herculean effort on the part of the police department. As many have said in media and social media, is that we're a brand new department, we're so young, but I will echo the things that have been said about us and say it again, is that we have a very experienced staff that is more than capable of handling these types of investigations, and they've done a wonderful job. I cannot say enough about my staff. They put in accountant's hours, blood, sweat, and tears to get to this point, and I'm very proud of what they've done. But as County Attorney Mitchell has said, we're not done. We have more to do. These 4 indictments are just the start, and we're going to continue to work to finish up this case and bring a whole conclusion to what we're doing. I would like to also say to the Maricopa County Medical Examiner, we appreciate so much the effort and the speed to which they provided that. I know a lot of the conversation started about that this is taking too long, and the frustration that was expressed through various means, not only about our investigation, the Maricopa County Attorney, but the other ancillary services that helped us with this. And I would echo what has been said, is this has been extremely fast in the scheme of how these investigations go. Homicides take a long time to investigate, and as the county attorney said already, it was complex because of the amount of people that we had to talk to and work with and to gather all the evidence that we needed. And it did culminate in hundreds and hundreds of pages. Actually said thousands, and she's correct. But again, I'd like to say thank you to my staff and everything that they've done so far. As you know, we did submit in late December, but we are very proud to say that the Maricopa County Attorney's Office done a wonderful job of expediting what they needed to do, but to make sure that they got to the point where they were comfortable, they reviewed everything, and they did an extraordinarily wonderful job to get us to this point where we're just stepping off to the next step. And I think that was well said, is we're not done. This is just the first step into a long process. I would also like to say to the family, we thank you for your patience. We thank you for your support. The family has been at our side and helping us throughout this. And I, too, are frustrated by some of the things that they've had to endure as we have gone through this process, some of the things that they've seen. But they have been undaunted and have helped us throughout this, and I appreciate that. As was said, we received the warrants late this morning, early afternoon, And we started an operation, days ago to provide the surveillance that we need to get the routines so that when we went to do the apprehensions that we were prepared. But as you know, we have to constantly adapt and change as we go through these operations. But it was a very good operation today. We were able to take that many into custody. Again, we still have more to do. I'd like to say thanks to the teams that were out there and some of the other agencies that have helped us to get to this point, and some of the assistance we received today. Again, we'll have more to come, but I'd like to say again thank you to the public as well for all the stuff that you've provided us, all the help and assistance. And we continue to get tips, even though we've been to this point. We continue to process those things, but we will be vigilant in finishing up this case. But I'd like to say thank you to them as well. But we'd ask that we continue to be focused on what's important and not, as the county attorney said, be careful about some of the allegations and theories that are put forward. So this is all about making sure that we get justice for Preston and to close out that chapter in the lives of this family. And then moving forward, and we've talked about this numerous times, is to make sure that we are setting up our community and the communities around here with the proper tools and means to make sure that we can handle and manage teen violence and really get to the root of what the problem is. So